So, I want to do a video that's kind of more personal. I'm also looking out my window, and I tend to be. I gotta get going soon because I'm meeting a friend. I'm buying a vinyl player. Yay! Can't wait to get home and test that. Um, and we're gonna have a coffee and have some talk and stuff. So, yeah. So I've started going to a mental health thing now, and I had an assessment 2 weeks ago. And I don't want to go into all the details and everything. Some of it's way too personal, but it sort of I was told that it would bring up some stuff and that it would be emotionally draining. And the thing is, I'm not too bad now, but for like the first week or so after that, it was just like I was like drained. I was thinking about things about my child and other things I just hadn't thought about and the connections therein. But I thought I'd do a video just briefly anyway, talking about, and I think because I've noticed it today. So I used to have very severe agoraphobia. Now agoraphobia means you don't leave your house, right? So from the ages of about 16 to about 22, I just didn't go out. I just stayed at home. I'm not even kidding. That's the thing. It sounds mad because it's like, how could you do that for 6 years? I mean, I'm not saying I never went out, but I didn't go out the way other people go out. I went out, terrified and not looking very well kept and clean and stuff like this. I was in a very, very bad way, severely unwell. And there were some other issues as well that developed, physical issues as a result of that. I went through a period where I couldn't swallow properly, so I was very skinny and was malnourished and wasn't eating properly. There was a lot that happened to me that, as I look back now, it's painful, but it's nowhere near as painful as I thought it would be. I look back on it now and there's a certain sense of, I don't know, I think it's because of how far I've managed to come in just 2 years. I mean, I haven't got a bank account and I don't have a girlfriend and I'm still living at home, admittedly, at this point in my life. But 2 years ago, I was starving myself to death and had no reason to live. And I'm pretty impressed with how quickly I turned my life around. Um, because there was a point when even my own mum has confessed this to me recently. She had pretty much given up all hope. I had given up every ounce of hope. I had no hope left. I was like, to be honest, I'll be honest. I got to a point where I was like, if the physical health issues I was going through at the time, I was like, I just kill me. Just let I almost even from the not eating, I was thinking, look, just let me die. Just let me go to sleep and not wake up. Um, and now I couldn't think of anything I'd rather not have happen to me than die. And I still have health issues. I have to be careful around COVID. I didn't get all my vaccines because it's stuff I don't want to get into. But it wasn't an anti-vax thing. It was just yeah. Um, so I have to be careful and stuff. But I'm happy in a way. I'm miserable and I'm happy. But there's a weird sort of, it's like I don't know what it is. I'm content, I guess. Me and my brother were talking about this, that you shouldn't strive for happiness, right? Because you realize being content is better. And even when I'm feeling depressed and miserable, but I'm realizing that there are things I can do that I couldn't do back then, like go for a walk or go out and busk or go and have a coffee somewhere nice and read my book. These things that for the average person don't mean anything to me are little drops of heaven. I mean, it's incredible. You can't imagine unless you've been through a traumatic experience like that. And I know there are a lot of people out there who have. A lot of people have been through worse than me. So I don't want to come across like condescending, like, oh my God, I can do anything now. It's like, no, there are people out there who've been through far worse. Soldiers, for instance, who've gone through actual trauma, as opposed to just being scared to go out of the house. It's fucking ridiculous looking back on it. But when you've gone through bad experiences, you really learn to appreciate. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. And I used to say it was cliche back when I was a teenager and I didn't know any better. But then when it happens to you, you realize it's cliche for a reason because it is true. You appreciate things way more than you ever did. Now, I mean, I appreciate it so much now. I'm about to go out and meet a friend and have a nice cup of coffee and get a vinyl player and walk around, even though it's freezing cold. And I appreciate it. I totally appreciate it. You know, it's fun. I feel happy. I still haven't got a bank account or a photo ID. I'm working very hard to get those, but I've been running into lots of snags and bureaucracy and yeah. I think it's because we're on benefits, so it's a lot harder to get all of the stuff that you need. but I'm pretty close to getting that sorted now, because I've been working on that for the last 6 months, trying to get a bank account and ID, and it looks like I'm finally gonna be getting to the point where it's possible, at least the bank account anyway. Um, which may also make the ID side easier. I don't know, either way. The ID is basically just, I've got everything now. It's just there was a fuck up on my GP's end, and regarding the documents, confirming from the documents. Basically, my referee is my GP. There was a fuck up on there because my GP surgery is terrible. So I just got to sort that out. And then other than that, so far everything else seems fine. The photo's fine. So yeah, everything's fine. If I can get this one little snag sorted, I should have my photo ID probably within the next couple of weeks. So fingers crossed. But it's been difficult getting through to my GP. Plus, for a while, I didn't actually realise what was going on because I just thought they were taking a slow time. And then I actually got in contact and I realised, oh, my application was suspended because of this. Yeah, Citizen Card didn't reach out to me until I reached out to them. A little bit annoyed about that because I spent about 2 months thinking that it was just really slow because of the delays at the start. But yeah, anyway, I won't ramble on about that. But anyway, yeah, you know, all of these things, yeah, they do matter. I mean, you've got to realise what it's like when you lose everything. And you got to remember when this happened as well. This happened to me as soon as I left secondary school. So I didn't have any experiences as a teenager. You know, all that important era when you're growing your independence. I'm having to do that now in my 20s. And people are less forgiving. But it's like, but I don't understand why it matters either. I don't know. I mean, because it doesn't matter to me. I just know that society's perception is that I shouldn't be lacking independence to the degree that I am. But it's like, yeah, but you don't realise you weren't there. You don't see what I've been through. You don't see what anyone's been through. And when you counter in the fact that I've caught up pretty fast, I think it's very, very, very likely. I mean, obviously, like I say, surgery next year, I've got no choice. I have to get it now. I can't bottle it. But it's very likely that within the next year and a half, I will also have my own flat, a council flat. Well, I mean, there's wishful thinking with the fact that every Tom, Dick and Harry is coming off a boat and expecting free stuff from the government, but and the government itself is crap as well. I'm not just gonna blame the immigrants here. It is the government as well. Yeah, wishful thinking. But anyway, what I mean is, whether or not I do because of waiting lists, within the next year and a half, there is no reason it couldn't happen, other than, you know, delays. From a position of being ready to live on my own, I'm very much so close to that point now. Once I get my bank account, my ID, and, you know, this surgery done, access to my independence is pretty much done. From there, everything else, I can get a job. Like, you know, this surgery doesn't mean my health is going to magically be great, but I mean, I'm in a position now where I'm sure I could work part-time. I'd rather wait until I've had my surgeries before I start looking into employment. But even now, I'd say I'm in a position where I could work, at least part-time. And maybe I will. When I get my bank account, I'm thinking of looking into it. A weekend job. So that way, when I go into full-time employment, at least I've got something to put on my CV. I can say, well, I've done a bit, as opposed to nothing. So I am really close to where I need to be. And the satisfaction I get from this is knowing that I've done this myself with my family. But I've also done a lot of it myself. I mean, you know, I decided, okay, enough's enough. This isn't happening. I want to live. I want to have something to live for. And now I haven't necessarily found it, but I'm actually finding my purpose. I'm using my music. I'm using everything. I have a social life. I'm meeting up with a friend. I'm meeting up with friends now. I never used to do that. You know, I'm busking, and I'm flirting with girls and stuff. This is cool. This to me is like everything that I wanted my life to be when I was 17, 18, and 19 and 20. It may be only happening now, but I can't say that the things I wanted when I was 15 and 16 before my life fell apart, I can't say that I'm not already doing the things I wanted to do anyway. So it's kind of weird. It's like, and I've got the added wisdom of being older and having been through some shit. In a way, I'm kind of lucky. Yeah, I think I probably am. I actually am happy the things that happened to me happened. I actually am at this point. I think it made me a better person. I think I am a stronger person. I'm a very strong person. You know, I may not be physically strong, but mentally and everything else, I can deal with a lot. Sometimes my emotional instability gets into it, but that's why I'm getting the help that I need mental health wise, so that I can become stable. I specifically said that to the assessor. I said, I'm not looking to be happy. I'm looking to be stable. That's all I'm looking for. So again, my goals are realistic. And even he was like, yeah, it's quite nice to hear someone saying that. So yeah, my goals are realistic. I'm not expecting therapy is going to make my life wonderful. I'm expecting it's going to be painful, challenging. I'm going to have to put lots of effort into whatever specific types of therapy and everything else that they give me. And whatever they might do medication-wise, depending on whether or not they diagnose me with anything else. Some people have said ADHD. I do have a family history of bipolar disorder. You know, there's two coins there. It could be ADHD and bipolar. It could be ADHD on its own. It's probably more likely at this point. I'm starting to realize I only in the last 5 or 6 months, I'm beginning to realize I have a lot of symptoms of ADHD. And then as soon as I was in this assessment for the first, like within 5 minutes, the guy said to me, "Have you ever been assessed for ADHD?" And I was like, "No." And he said, pattern of behavior, because he was also looking at my records. And I was like, huh, okay. So who knows? But yeah, like, you know, all of these things are falling into place. And maybe if I hadn't been through all that crap, they wouldn't be falling into place the way they are. I mean, even part of me now thinks to myself, okay, let's say I get really sick over the winter or I get really sick or whatever, and I have to go into hospital. I think at this point, I'd be like, yeah, all right. Come on then, put me in the back of the ambulance, let's go. See what happens. I think there's a side of me now that's starting to relax and chill out. Starting to understand that, yeah, I could still die. There could be something horrible happens to me. I could get stabbed when I'm out busking, you know. I mean, that's why I carry my Swiss Army knife. But I hope the police don't knock on my door now. But you know, yeah. And I also discovered Nietzsche and nihilism. And people really misunderstand nihilism and they misunderstand Nietzsche. To me, I found hope. I found so much hope in the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche you couldn't imagine. It's helped me to make sense of the world around me and helped me make sense of myself, which has helped me become more peaceful and more content. I can't say I'm still not angry and restless, obviously, but there's a lot more contentment and peace that I feel now than I ever did. I have a more mature outlook on the world than I ever did before. Anyway, that's the video.